Last week, IO Interactive showed off gameplay for their James Bond game 007 First Light in a PlayStation State of Play, and what I saw was absolutely amazing. Yes, rough around the edges, but it was great enough for me that it shot off itself to become my most anticipated game of 2026. That's a wild statement with how many big hitters coming out next year, but it's the truth. So, let me explain. I have 3 reasons as to why 007 First Light is my most anticipated game of 2026. As someone who's British and proud of our culture and entertainment, James Bond is really rooted in our DNA, especially in mine. I love these films as one of my favorite film series ever. My favorite Bond is Daniel Craig, and Casino Royale isn't just my favorite Bond film, it's one of my favorite films I have ever seen. When people ask me what is the film that got me into filmmaking and this entertainment medium in general, I always say Casino Royale. When I watched that film, it changed my whole view on films and the character of James Bond. Before that, we had Bonds that were campy, serious, suave, silly, and ridiculous. But good or bad, Daniel Craig films brought more of a grounded feeling while still having fun with some of those elements that made Bond Bond. So every release after Casino Royale, I was waiting with excitement. Yes, they didn't live up to Casino Royale, Skyfall coming really close, but my fandom for this series was always there even after films like Quantum of Solace. Even now, after Amazon purchasing the franchise, I'm looking forward to the Denis Villeneuve directed film. His work on Dune and many other films proved him to be best guy to direct a Bond film. But James Bond didn't just become popular in films. Yes, James Bond is strictly a film character, but when it comes to video games, he has been present for years and generations. He even had a game that was so influential that it made the genre popular with people. What I'm talking about is obviously GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. That game literally made the first-person shooter genre popular for so many people. That isn't it though. James Bond was present in many games after that, but nothing lived up to the heights of GoldenEye. I come from a generation of early 2000s to 2010s James Bond games. And let me tell you, those days were really rough. James Bond 007 Nightfire, GoldenEye Rogue Agent, From Russia with Love, Quantum of Solace, and that weird era when Daniel Craig's likeness was shoved into every Bond game in GoldenEye Remake, James Bond 007 Bloodstone, and that god-awful 007 Legends from Activision. Man, we really had it rough, didn't we? I get you wanted to make Daniel Craig your James Bond even in video games, like how currently James Gunn is developing his new DCU. The same actor will portray the character in every medium, but back then, having his likeness in a Pierce Brosnan film or a Sean Connery film just did not fit at all. He looked awkward and jarring. I am totally okay with them making video games adapting films that actually star Daniel Craig, but why not make side games that feature him? Side stories that aren't in films. It would have built this iteration of Bond more and make him even more of an icon. I know Bloodstone is that and is what I asked, so I do respect it in that regard, but still, it wasn't that great. And what we got since GoldenEye was so bad that they stopped making James Bond games since 2012. And the fact that they were all first-person shooters just didn't land at all. Yes, GoldenEye revolutionized this genre, but come on man, it doesn't mean you have to copy that formula every time. But there was a shimmer of hope at the end of this miserable dark tunnel. When I heard IO Interactive was making a Bond game, I was over the moon, but still skeptical because I have been burned a lot in the past. IO Interactive games, especially the Hitman series, is the best stealth games I have played. The freedom and the whole sandbox element they bring to these games is just unmatched. For me, every Hitman game is a hit, man. I'm really sorry about that. But hey, they are really made with such detail and passion that I knew they would be bringing it to James Bond. The whole infiltrating and espionage gameplay they built in their Hitman games looks to be coming to First Light. The freedom and going about different ways to reach your goal is so Hitman coded that I was locked in from the first minute. This is a great way to approach James Bond because we really feel like we will be playing as a spy and not just a Call of Duty soldier like those older games. I'm looking at you, especially 007 Legends. Man, that game was so bad. But that's not all. You can use your charms to get out of situations or even distract people. Having a Bond that just shit talks out of his situation is so well thought out, because that's what he would have done, especially when he's younger. Oh yeah, this game will feature a young Bond and this is the perfect choice. I heard that they were making this series into a trilogy and that's a great way to start your new franchise. I honestly did not expect Uncharted elements to be in a James Bond game, but here we are and I couldn't be happier. The shooting and the explosions reminds me of Nathan Drake causing havoc. The tension and the situation going from 0 to 100 is what makes James Bond so reckless and unique. I can see why the devs were influenced by Uncharted 4 because some of the segments in that game is really James Bond coded. Uncharted is literally one of my favorite video game series ever, and I'm so happy that they are taking inspiration from those games. The set pieces like the cargo plane is just ridiculous in the best way possible. It feels so video gamey as hell and I just absolutely love it. Even the driving looks and feels like the Madagascar segment from Uncharted 4. The gameplay wasn't the best in this reveal. It looks stiff and janky. But there is still time before its March release date, and I'm sure they will improve upon these not so good parts. I'm just glad we are getting a James Bond game that looks and feels like a proper Bond game. So, these points alone makes 007 First Light my most anticipated game of 2026. I know everyone will say, what about GTA 6? Yes, I am absolutely buzzing for that game as well. But like I said last year about 2025, I need to see gameplay. That's why it wasn't my most anticipated game of 2025, before it got delayed that is. Whenever I see gameplay from it, then I'm sure it'll be number 1. It's just First Light has so much going for it. GTA 6 will be good, but there's also a chance that it might be disappointing because of how we have built this game up in our minds. There are also other games I'm fully excited about for next year. Resident Evil 9, Onimusha Way of the Sword, Saros and many more. But thanks to this recent gameplay reveal and the points I talked about, 007 First Light is up there for the time being. I really cannot wait for this game. So what about you? What did you think of First Light? And what is your most anticipated game of 2026? Don't forget to let me know down below. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see everyone on the next video.